What's up? Juno here. And this year in the United States, it's an election year. And what that means is it's gonna get pretty fucking nasty in terms of political attacks and all this other bullshit now that we are getting down to the actual nomination process and it's been whittled down to the main candidates. And I've been watching the politics and back and forths and not actually sitting down and watching the debates, but seeing highlights from them because I'm not patient enough to watch these buffoons go up there and talk on stage. Because no matter how I vote, it's in the grand scheme of things, at least in the full presidential general election, it doesn't really matter due to the way the voting process is structured in the United States, unfortunately. But for this video, I want to briefly talk about why I'm just so discouraged, in a way. The day I'm filming this video is actually the primaries day in California. What is it, June 7th today? So I did not vote in the primaries. I normally don't vote in primary elections because a lot of the time, if I'm registered for a particular political party, I don't necessarily hold that same view of that party in the next election because I don't play partisan politics. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I wouldn't describe myself necessarily as a libertarian or green or anything like that, or communist for sure, because I'm not a communist in any stretch of the imagination. So I go whichever way I feel and who I feel is the best. I've voted for Republicans, I've voted for Democrats, and I've voted for third-party candidates too. Like in the California election for governor a couple of years ago, I voted for a third-party candidate because I thought Jerry Brown could go fuck himself because he's already been governor of this state, and frankly, with the stuff that he's written in the law and forced through in law, I have pretty much hated a lot of it. So fuck him. And Meg Whitman, she is like another Hillary Clinton, very untrustworthy and should not be in any position of power. That's right, I am not a fan of Hillary Clinton in the slightest. There are a multitude of reasons why I don't like her, but I'm just going to highlight a few of the reasons why I don't like Hillary Clinton. One of the biggest things that I can't stand is while she was Secretary of State and how she's kind of just been able to run this election campaign and all this stuff, I would love to see her thrown in jail for how she handled her email situation and all that, and I just don't like her. I don't like that, and there's a lot of shadiness surrounding her. She's a shill. That's why I don't call her Hillary. I call her Shillery, because she will change her opinion and form whatever opinion based on who's paying her the most. And another thing that she is not a big fan of, at least she's one of those people that rules for thee, not for me types, or, you know, do as I say, not as I do. When it came down, when there was the whole San Bernardino case of the encryption going between the FBI and Apple and stuff like that, her opinion on it was, you know, well, we should comply with the government and stuff like that, and government requests. And it's like, no, sorry, my privacy is more important. If you're against encryption, you don't understand how it protects your ass, all right? If you don't like encryption, then give me your bank account numbers, give me your social security number, give me your driver's license number, give me your address, give me your phone numbers, give me all this sort of thing. If you don't care, because that's what encryption helps protect information from. That's one of the many things that encryption does to protect you and your identity. I know back when her husband was president, Bill, or Slick Willie, she had a stance kind of like the social justice, AntiGamergate sort of people. She was very much of the opinion that violent video games cause children and people to be violent. So she's one of these people. I work in a creative field, and when I hear people talk about censoring art or entertainment things, it gets me really pissed off because while I'm not working in video games, I'm working in another medium where a lot of people get enjoyment from, which is just as valid, and actually, you know, it's been around for a lot longer than video games have. So I don't like censoring of films or TV. I don't like the censoring of video games or art in general. I'm a big advocate of freedom of speech and freedom of expression because people should be able to express those. This authoritarian, just rebellion and push for censorship is very frightening to me. I am not a fan of censorship. I'm not a fan of silencing people just because I disagree with them. I'm more inclined to encourage the stupid people to be more vocal. That way we can all point and laugh. I'm of the opinion of criticism and ridicule when you have a stupid opinion about something. I'm going to call you out on it, and I have the freedom to do so. I'm sorry you don't like that, but, frankly, I don't give a shit. That's what I'm going to do, and there's not a whole lot you can do to stop me. So yeah, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but those are just a few of the reasons I fucking hate her. I can't stand her. I would never vote for her. But then we look at our other choice, and that is Donald Trump. And I'm not a fan of him either. Frankly, in an ideal world, what I would have loved to have seen was... Donald Trump was the nominee. He outlasted all the establishment Republicans, which I think is a good thing in a way to set a precedent, but I don't think he's the best representation of who the populist or who an opinion based on popularity versus political backgrounds and stuff like that. He's kind of weird like that, and where he kind of stands out from the pack of the other people he was running against. And look, who was the last person standing? Ideally, I would love to see him go against Bernie because, again, Bernie was kind of, even though I don't agree with his politics or positions on a lot of things, he seems a lot less corrupt and awful compared to Hillary. He seems like he genuinely believes his opinions. But then again, I think on some things, like I remember back early into his campaign when he was at a campaign stop or whatever talking, and then he got overtaken on the stage by those racist Black Lives Matter protesters who basically pushed him aside so they could use his podium to spout off their racist bullshit about who knows whoever got shot that week and why they're all pissed off and all this bullshit. So, whatever. I think he would have kind of been a weak weaker candidate, and so he would just kind of he would get steamrolled by Donald Trump. Let's be fair here, if the two of them actually did a debate or if they were actually in the primaries together. But Donald Trump too, I think Donald Trump knows what he's doing. I think he knows how to grab an audience because for years and years and years he had that Celebrity Apprentice. And he knew how to appeal to an audience. He's not as dumb as people want to rip on him for. He's a lot smarter than people think. And I think a lot of it he's doing for the drama and the press attention. He's just soaking it up. He's like a fucking kind of orange sponge with a really shitty haircut. He's just soaking it up, soaking up the attention. Another peculiar thing I haven't seen much this election cycle when it comes to coverage of the politicians. And now, right up to this point, I guess, until the primaries in California, even though the Associated Press called Hillary the winner based on delegates a day before the California election. It'd be very interesting to see, and since I'm recording this on the day of the primaries and the polls just closed, just over an hour ago at the time of filming this video, I don't know who won, and nor does everyone. In California is a big fucking state with a lot of people voting in it. So, this has kind of been a discombobulated video because I'm kind of just going off the cuff here and talking about politics and stuff, but one thing that I haven't seen much of is when it comes to negative advertisements or negative coverage, news outlets have only been focusing on two candidates for the most part in this kind of final, whittled down race. Donald Trump, for sure, he's a fucking magnet for attention because he's so fucking outrageous. And Bernie Sanders, I see, are getting most of the heat. And the only coverage I'm seeing of Hillary Clinton is positive coverage. She's not a very positive figure. And that makes me think that I read a story not too long ago. The Hillary campaign has hired a bunch of people to be online to kind of censor and kind of wipe clean any dissenting opinion about Hillary Clinton. Well, you know what? Come on, try and DMCA me. Go ahead, Hillary campaign. DMCA me. I'll fight the fucker. And you know what? I don't care. I hate your candidate. Your candidate sucks. She'll never get my vote. Never in a million years. She already tried running in 2008 and she failed. She failed. And let's be honest here, okay? I'm going to be talking, or at least addressing this point, to people who I despise. And those are the social justice-y, feminist, radical, regressive, left type people. Those sorts of people. I understand you want a female president and all that. And I don't really give a shit what the ethnic background or gender of whoever is running the United States is. I don't give a fuck. What I care about is if they're qualified. Merit, not just what they look like on the outside. I care what they can do and what they've proven to do in the past. And, well, frankly, she hasn't deserved any of that attention. She's a corrupt politician. And she is like a cookie cutter with that cackle, too. Fuck. I think, honestly, I would have rather seen a woman who wasn't as awful as she was being the first presidential nominee in this country. And I would have preferred any other woman than her. Well, maybe not Sarah Palin. Fuck Sarah Palin, too. But she's the polar... She's just the two sides of the same coin. They're basically... One is the crazy right, and one is the, well, left in name, but let's be honest, Hillary's more of a Republican than a Democrat because she's just as paid off as much as the Republicans are, in my opinion. But... yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of any of them, and God, when it comes to November, I don't know who the fuck I'm going to vote for. Maybe I'll vote for a third party again. I know that's probably not really going to matter in my state anyway, no matter who I vote for, because California is a very much left-leaning state. And I'm not a partisan politics type person. I voted, like I've said, Republicans, Democrats, and third parties. Libertarians, independents, those types of people. If I feel they're the best person for the job, I'm gonna pick them. You know, that's how I vote. I don't vote because of ideology. Because let's be fair, as an atheist and an anti-theist, I'm not a fan of ideology, no matter what form it takes. Whether it be your more traditional religious sense or the new agey woo social justicey bullshit sort of thing that's permeating hyper PC culture. Fuck all that noise. But anyway, what do you think? Are you kind of in the same boat for me if you're a U.S. citizen and can vote? Or are you just kind of like, God, we have... And again, South Park nailed it with the Let's Get Out and Vote episode where it was the choices between a douche and a turd. God, I love that show because it's always so fucking spot on. Anyway, what do you think? Are you, again, feeling similar to me, or am I completely off the bat? Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see someone justify voting for Hillary in my comment section. Go on. And I'm going to add a stipulation to it. Not because she's a woman. You can't use that as an excuse. Or a reason, should I say. Maybe I'm looking at this too negatively. But here's another interesting thing before I close this video out. As I've mentioned, and as most people who live in the United States know, California is a very left-leaning state. Traditionally, they always vote Democrat. And the most populous areas of the state, there are some conservative and religious, or somewhat conservative, religious-like areas, and I used to live in one of them in California, but they're far outshined by the very liberal ones. But in terms of political bumper stickers in California, you know what I've seen the most of? I've only seen one Trump sign so far, and this was way back in March, way the fucking rural spot in California. Actually pretty close to the Nevada border, to be honest. I've seen a few Hillary stickers, a few, like I'm talking like maybe a handful, like the amount I could count on one hand, like 5. But I've seen Bernie stickers everywhere. Bernie stickers, everyone's got a fucking Bernie sticker, or their car's decorated in Bernie, or they've got a Bernie sign, blah, 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 blah. I see more Bernie stickers than I do anything else. I haven't seen, at the time of recording this, again, this is still primary, or not primary season, but the nomination season, and yeah, I just haven't seen many. I'm sure that'll change once we get closer to the election, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are reluctantly supporting Hillary Clinton just because, well, it's looking like she's going to be the nominee, and they don't like her either, but because they won't vote for Trump, they're going to vote for that crazy, shrill, awful person, Hillary Clinton. Anyway, do your part. Blaspheme daily.